everyone, this is Alicia from Sustainably Frugal. I had one of my readers ask me about a recipe for my homemade bread, so I'm just going to show you how I do that. So this is the container. I have one of the long containers for my bread machine. Some people will have like the short ones that make kind of like a more normal type of loaf of bread. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put 1.5 cups of water in here. You can use milk if you want to. Like some people, if you have like a lot of milk that maybe you perhaps bought on sale and you want to use that up, you can definitely use milk in your bread. So I'm just measuring 1.5 cups in my measuring cup and making sure that it's accurate. A little bit more. There we go. 1.5 cups. That. So I'm also going to use an egg. This egg here, you're going to see in here. It looks kind of weird because I actually froze this egg. If you can get a deal on eggs, a good solution to keeping those is freezing them. So what I do is I will take an ice cube tray and I will crack each egg open, and about 1 egg fills up 2 ice cube little ice cube parts, so you can freeze, what is that, 6 eggs, because there's usually about 12 little ice cubes or whatever. So, and then yeah, you can put those in the freezer, and I use them only for cooking, because obviously you can see they're kind of weird. They don't really, you couldn't make like a fried egg or something from the frozen eggs, but for when you're baking and that kind of thing, they work just fine. So I'm just going to mix this up a little bit because it's kind of sticky there. So yeah, so if you do find an egg sale, like don't be like, oh, I'm not gonna buy them, because some people shy away from buying too many eggs because you can definitely freeze them. Okay, so I'm gonna add 1 egg. Okay, and I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of oil. I use olive oil because it's really healthy for you. I use extra virgin olive oil. It's got a lot of good things in it for you. So I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of that. Okay. And then you can use, for a sweetener, you can use, oh, this is a bit of a mess. You can use a multitude of things. I like to use honey and molasses. I like to use 1 tablespoon of each. If you just had honey, you could definitely use just the 2 tablespoons of honey. That would be totally fine. I also like to use molasses because it gives my bread a little bit of a darker color to it. And if you only had molasses, you could just use molasses. Or if you didn't have either, you could use sugar. I use organic sugar, but you could definitely use white sugar if that's what you had around. I mean, the beauty of making bread is that you can substitute sometimes, and I mean, even if you didn't want to use an egg in this, you don't have to use an egg. I just find that an egg helps it to rise a little bit better. But I have made this without as well, without the egg. Okay, so now I'm going to put, after my sweeteners, I'm going to put 2 teaspoons of salt. Oops. And then I'm going to put 4 cups of whole wheat flour. So I'm just going to scoop it out, and I'm just going to kind of level it out with my finger here. So I've tried a bunch of different kinds of whole wheat flours. I just bought this one the other day. This is actually Robin Hood. It's actually bread flour. I don't mind it. I also use this, which is Chaka Fresh Atta. Atta is basically, it means flour. So I use this. It's a bit of a different consistency. This stuff is cheaper. You can get it at the superstore. So I mix the two. This is just whole wheat flour. You can see, I don't know if I didn't even show you the first one. I'll show you the difference between one and the other. So you can see here that this one is a bit more grainy, the one that's in my hand, and this one is quite a bit more like fine. So, I mean, a bag of this one is 10-pound bag for, I believe I got this for $5 or $6. And then for the actual whole wheat bread, this is 5 kilograms. So I guess that's, is that the right conversion? 10 pounds? Anyways, I suck at conversions. So yeah, and that one was more expensive, the bread flour. But I don't know, you can mix and match it. I mean, even if you wanted to do, 3 cups whole wheat and 1 cup white, or half and half, you do 50 or 60% whole wheat. It depends on what your family likes, right? I mean, we like whole wheat bread, so that's that. Okay, so I'm gonna wash my hand with my nicely new refilled Lysol Touch. I'm so excited. And I'm going to grab a tablespoon, one that's not all nasty with molasses, because I'm going to do the yeast. So when you put in all your ingredients, I'm sure, I mean, if you've used a food or bread maker before, you know the drill. You don't want to get your yeast wet. You don't want it to touch water. You don't want it to touch salt. And I need to get another knife here. So you want to do a nice level tablespoon. If I can even do this. I'm going to pour it in, and then I'm going to, oh, I'm making a mess. Alright. There we go. And then I'm just going to sprinkle that on top. And that's basically it. So, for now anyways, so you're going to put this into my bread maker. I'm going to put it in on the whole wheat setting, which is going to take about 4 hours. But I'm going to come back when everything's done, just about an hour, and I'll show you what I do before it actually starts baking. Okay? So you're just going to put that into the bread machine. Okay, so my bread machine has been doing its thing for almost 3 hours now. So I'm going to open it up and pull it out because there's about an hour left. It's like rising up. I'm going to attempt to take my dough out because I'm going to take my paddle out of the bottom so that I don't have a big paddle in the bottom of my bread. I probably should have got a little bit of flour going on here, but it is what it is. So, give it a little pat on the top so it's a little bit flat inside of the actual bucket, like that. Okay, I'm going to make sure I don't get any dough on the side. And then I'm going to just put it back in. Because now, in the next hour, is when it's going to do it's baking. Okay, so now my bread machine has stopped. Oh, it's hot. I gotta get, oops. I have to get a oven mitt. So it's beeped and stopped. I'm gonna pull, woo! Oh, I'm breaking it. I got it. Okay, I'm gonna pull it out. And as you can see, even after I flattened it out, it still rose really nice, almost to the top of there, and it's got a nice flat top to it. I'm just gonna grab another oven mitt here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my loaf out now while it's still hot. Ooh, this slips right out. There's still a little bit of a nugget left on the thing, but if you look on the bottom here, it's a solid, rather than if I were to have left this in there, it would be a big hole. So now I'll be able to cut my bread nice. So I'm just going to leave it on this little rack here. Give it a bend. And I'm going to let it cool, and then I'll come back and you can see how I cut it. Okay? Okay, so now that my bread has cooled quite a bit, you can tell that it's like nice and moist inside. Like if you thump on it, you can hear it almost sounds like hollow. Anyways, enough about my thumping my bread. So you're gonna wanna get a serrated knife, and to cut, I find this loaf a little awkward to cut, so I always cut from the bottom. Sometimes I wish I had a normal shaped loaf, but it is what it is. So I'm just going to cut real close to the bottom and just get this bottom piece off. I normally cut about halfway and then I flip it so that I make sure that my slice is fairly even. This I can just throw away because it's crusty and hard. But yeah, you can see, as you can see, the inside is soft, so that's good. And I'm just going to basically try and get fairly thin pieces. I thought about getting, there's like a bread slicing guide that you can get, and you can see that here too there's the little hole, but that's not bad considering if you would have put this in, there would have been a giant hole. So it only goes up just a little bit further. And that's basically it for making my bread. It's got a nice kind of brown color. I know that oh, whoops, messed that one up. I know that the molasses lends it to that nice color. And then usually what I do, because it is a weird shape, I'll just cut these pieces just in half like this. And I actually just make sandwiches, half sandwiches like this for my son for lunch or whatever. And then I just store these pieces. Once I get it all cut, I store these pieces inside of a container. I don't know if I have, yeah, this container. It's still kind of wet, but because I had it in the dishwasher, but I store it into this container with the lid on, and yeah, it usually stays for a couple of days. It's really good. I'm going to taste it because it's probably delicious. I'm probably going to eat a few pieces more. But I hope you liked my video, and I'll post the actual recipe up on the blog. Okay, thanks.